sir?
I'm doing great, and welcome everyone. I'm Steven, and you are...
Ron Bush, all day long.
Ron, there we go. Figured out our names. Welcome to the Positive Identity podcast series. And it
Absolutely.
is Ron, it's an important day today. What is today's day?
It is. It's a very important day. It's Juneteenth. It's about 5. Once we're finished this podcast, I'm going to go out and go walk the streets and protest today and tomorrow here in Los Angeles. I'm really excited that white America has found out what Juneteenth is all about, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where these protests continue to go. It does not look like they're slowing down. I like many people that you see on TV or whatever, I'm really heartened by the diversity of the people that are showing up to march in every city. And many of the marches, even here in Los Angeles, has been more white than has been black, more white and Latino than has been black in some of the marches. So that's really impressive, and it's been like that across the country, you know. And I was talking to some young comedians the other night, listen, I'm 51 years old and born in 1969. It was in 73 or 74 that women were first able to get their credit cards without a cosigner. We're talking, Martin Luther King's, the Kennedy assassinations, Martin Luther King. 60 years ago, black people were having like insane, unfathomable in today's standards, violence happening to them because of their color, and here we are. And so I see this as a reawakening of what was going on back in the 60s and 70s, the 50s and 60s and 70s. And it looks like we collectively as a society want to finally address the issues around systemic racism, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I'm pumped to it. So first things first, I think when people hear about Juneteenth, it's like Christmas. You know what Christmas is? You know what Halloween is? Juneteenth, like what's June? It's a date in June. And so I think now we're like, oh, okay, I see what it means. And slavery was something that obviously is a huge part of American history, ubiquitous worldwide. And to essentially, I think we talked about this once, Ron, that, there's the idea of throwing off slavery, of being free, of essentially, working together to help us be free people is at the core of the American dream. If you ask yourself, wow, 4th of July, let's celebrate the hell out of that. Well, to be free is also emancipation, not being a slave anymore. And the people who fought that off and the people who worked to fight that off. And so I'm super excited to see how this holiday goes. In one sense, it's a solemn holiday. In another sense, I hear I was texting another person, she's going out for celebrations. So I guess she's celebrating. And then other people, it's a day of protest. So, it's very much we're seeing the birth of a new holiday. And, I guess we'll sort of spend a little bit of time on this in a second. But first, Tia Thomas will be coming to join us today as our guest.
I'm really excited to talk with her.
Yep. And it actually ties to Juneteenth a little bit. And we'll give her the real introduction in a second. But this is a focus on organizing. How do you take a situation that is nightmarish and how do you organize to get through it? And she has a very fascinating and unique story. And in about 5-7 minutes, we'll get to her. But, I think it's something to sort of talk about. Let's talk about Juneteenth. So, this holiday came together. I'd say it's been known about, but fairly recently it's become more ubiquitous, right, Ron?
Right. I would say this. Black America has known about Juneteenth. Okay. White America, and this goes to this speaks directly to systemic issues. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to kind of challenge you on something that you said a little earlier as well.
Fire away.
When African Americans were saying that police were brutalizing us ever since Jim Crow, before that, you know, whatever calendar date you want to pick, you know, free the slaves. They immediately started when the slaves when the slaves were freed. They immediately put in place police officers to be able to round up the black people. Mm-hmm. So this is not, freedom has not been the easy road in America. It's been the easy road for white America. It has never been the easy road for Black America, and clearly with brown America either. And so what I'm seeing here is an awakening to that. White people did not believe us when we said that there was police brutality until the cell phone camera, right? Generally speaking, they were like, oh my God, this is actually really happening, you know? And so holidays, things that are important to Black people in this country has constantly been ignored. Period. It's part of the systemic system that we've built as a society to make sure that Black people are kept as second-class citizens. Mm-hmm. And so the police department was organized to brutalize Black people. The justice system was formed, the laws were passed to make sure it was much more difficult for African Americans to have actually justice, much easier to throw, in particular, Black men in prison. Mm. So when we look at what's happening today, this is a new generation of people like our guest that's coming up, Tia, and a lot of these younger people that are on the streets today doing these things. They don't know what it was like back in the 70s when I was coming up, and I was called nigger by how many times when I was a little kid, you know, by adults or other kids. So, and this was in Philadelphia, right? And so you can imagine, and my father's from the South, so you can imagine the racism that was being experienced across the country, big, small, and, you know, you name it, you know? And so what I'm really thrilled about is, again, the diversity, and also being able to actually hold an intelligent conversation about race, where the actual claims are not being minimized, diminished, or denied by white America. You know, now we're actually having a conversation, you know, and seeing how I'm also, for any viewers that haven't watched any of the other podcasts or don't know about me, I'm also gay. So being a double minority in this country, being able to see how far the gay community has come in such a short period of time. And now to see the gay community saying, we're coming for our blood, we are here to march with our Black brothers and sisters. That is extremely powerful. You've never seen that in American history. And
I'm going to jump in a second. Because you say you want a conversation. So like, it's tough because, like, you know, we want to get to Tia. It's like, we should have had a Juneteenth podcast. What were we thinking? You know, but serious, because like, it's interesting. I want to address this because it's very fascinating, the relationship to the police, because my brother ended up in jail by a police officer for charges that probably weren't entirely true. He actually, they kind of set him up and he did jail time. And it's interesting because for, you know, look at social media. Do you see, you know, think about the white community. I don't see many of my white friends posting videos of, you know, because cops kill white people too, you know, white people, we've seen that stuff. White people don't post those videos. And it's interesting to think about because you're like, that's an injustice. These people have been screwed, and that does happen. Like, think Florida, 50% of prisoners are white, you know, like there's a huge amounts around. And like, the thing is for white people, our relationship with police officers and sort of crime in general has been a much different animal. There's sort of been like, well, the cop and you are getting into something, it's probably your fault. And so it very much sort of stems back to this sort of relationship of how we view crime, how we view sort of morality, how we view authority. Because, for a lot of white people, it's like, well, tough shit, you got shot and, good luck. I just don't see white people really caring when other white people get killed by cops. And so it's fascinating because like right now when we see like all these videos of black people getting killed by cops, people are spreading those things everywhere. And it's really interesting to think about sort of how the terror the black community is dealt with and thinking about how we as white people respond to when that happens with us. And it's been really interesting because you have to think about your own self to understand first how others are thinking too. And like, I really wish we had more time for this, Ron. I know you talk about having a conversation, but like,
this is going to be something that I have a sneaking suspicion through the summer. We are going to be having a lot more discussions about race and about police injustice and all those things and the differences between socioeconomic disparity and systemic racism. I look forward to those discussions, and and thank you for being an ally through all of this, as you are.
And you're my ally too, Ron.
I hear we have this incredibly intelligent young woman.
We do.
On Q, and I'm hearing she's like, "Put me in the game." That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we can't do this anymore. We have someone so great.
No.
What monsters would be like keep her on mute and not talk to her? So all right, so Tia, we're gonna introduce you and then jump right in. We're gonna start having some fun. So first things first, I want to give the proper introduction. Tia Thomas is a recently graduated high school student from Baltimore School for the Arts, theater major there, and she ain't stopped. She's going to Tucson University, and she's gonna be a theater major, maybe minor in education, apparently to her. And she's also a National Honor Society student. You might be thinking to yourself, all right, student, what's the sort of hook? The hook with Tia is that when the biggest pandemic in a generation, 100 years hit, that completely obliterated society, what Tia did is she made a major story in Baltimore. She hosted and organized her entire school for virtual prom. And the reason why we're bringing her on is that this virtual prom is obviously an incredible story of people working through adversity, but it's also an incredible story of organizing, of bringing people together, and the ways that we can do that in many different areas of our own life, and also think about race relations. How can we organize to help out those that are disadvantaged, and so on and so forth. And so Tia will talk about how she put this thing together, dealing with unbelievable circumstances, and we'll learn from those lessons and think about how we can take from them. Tia, great to see you.
Hello, Tia.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us here. When Stephen first told me about you, my mind immediately went back to some of those early Barack Obama speeches where he was telling people to be of service and community organizing and doing things to be of higher purpose for themselves. And I know how old are you, if you don't mind? You're 18 years old, and you're already organizing in your community and making the lives of fellow students and parents easier during a once in a generation pandemic. And that is the cornerstone to, I think, what everybody in this country needs to start doing is actually reaching out into their community and doing a little bit more.
So Tia, real quick, set the mood for us. When the pandemic first hit, how was everyone sort of feeling when that happened? Because we want to start to think like, what was the world like?
Well, the first day when we found out, it was kind of a funny story. A student in my class, we were having a discussion, and a student in my class said, it's dangerous the fact that we're not out of school yet. And then right after that, my principal announced that this is our last day. And everyone was actually really excited because nobody wanted to go to school anymore since the senior year. And it was kind of part of senior year where you're not really doing anything but trying to graduate. Like, it's no real work. So we were all ecstatic. Like, we were screaming, yelling.
Right.
And then slowly that started to turn into like a depression, loneliness. We were sad that we couldn't see each other. And we started to realize our senior year is lost. It's gone. So that happiness faded kind of quick.
No.
Ron, maybe it's worth asking, like, sort of like how our life has changed because of that, or for the
Absolutely.
students. Yeah,
Absolutely. What was life like before? Now, what is it like now for you as a student?
Well, before I'm an acting major, so a lot of our classes are very interactive.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to move our acting classes online, which was really complicated and difficult. I had to wake up in bed and do work. It's hard. It's easy to do work in the studio, but now in my room where I usually am asleep, I'm not as motivated as I am. And then also we have to be clear as actors, but I have to be clear, but you're also hearing me through a microphone. So now you can't really fully evaluate my skill set. So it was very hard to adjust. I don't know how my other underclassmen did it. I got out of school earlier since I'm a senior, but they had to do more academic classes. I lost some of my academic classes since I'm a senior. So I was very happy about that. I did not like it, but I got used to it, of course. But during it,
cool.
Did the school district even try and announce what they were thinking to do about prom and graduation before you started organizing?
No, not at all. Our stage, no, definitely not. I know the stage techs eventually thought about having a virtual prom for our school, but it never happened. And I had a feeling it wasn't going to happen because nobody knew how to go about it, because it's new to everyone. A virtual prom, nobody ever heard of that.
So I want to bring this back. So it's March when everything starts to really shut down. When do you first get the genesis of the idea that maybe I can host a virtual prom? What was that moment? Explain to me the room you were in, the place you were. When did that seed sort of like plant itself?
Well, on Instagram, all social medias, they were making jokes about it. Everyone was saying, oh, class of 2020 is going to have a virtual prom and graduation. They're going to have their faces on robots walking across the stage. And it was a joke at first, but once we realized that senior year is really over, it's kind of like, well, we kind of have no choice. So luckily I was working with Wide Angle at the time, and they also agreed that we needed to do something for the class of 2020 and for juniors too, for all high school students who lost their school year. And virtual prom just seemed like the best idea.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, I mean, so have you ever organized anything large scale before?
Never. I've never organized anything large scale before. This was the first.
So right out of college, right out of school, I got into the tech industry. So I'm going to be the tech geek of this conversation, I guess, in some regards.
There he
is. So you hear virtual prom, and then comes the evaluation process. You have to find out what platforms can pull this off, what the costs are, and all that. Can you walk people through that process for people who may not know how to start organizing something like that?
Well, since I knew that we wanted a lot of people there, we needed an app that could actually support that many people there. So obviously not FaceTime or anything. And because of school, I knew that Google Meet was an option, but Google Meet didn't really work as well. But I had a lot of work calls, and we were all on Zoom. And that's also what my mom was using for her work calls. And I was like, well, she has a huge team. Zoom must be like the perfect thing. And Zoom also, you can have breakout rooms. So you don't have to all stay in one group. You can go to like different breakout rooms and play games, or another breakout room and do karaoke, which is what we ended up doing.
Awesome. How long from the moment that you came up with the idea, did you immediately start contacting your friends to build up the team to put this together? What did the structure and organization look like?
I immediately contacted my friends, because me personally, I honestly wasn't going to go to prom, my senior prom this year, because I didn't have that much fun at my junior prom. It was kind of hyped up. So I texted my friend group. I texted my friend group and I said, would you guys consider going to a virtual prom? All of them said, I want to go to prom, but I don't know if I'm that desperate.
Oh, gosh.
I said, desperate? What do you mean? it's prom. Like, you can dance. And they're like, dancing in front of my laptop alone? I don't think so. And I said, okay, we got to make this sound better than just a regular dance in front of your laptop board. And that's how we figured out we needed to have extra stuff, as like the karaoke room, prizes, special guests, stuff to make you actually want to get up and dance and not feel like you're alone.
So it's funny that you're talking about this. So effectively, the real sort of like action points for you were going on social media and then thinking of like, what incentives can I give to people to do this?
Right.
Definitely.
So the right word there, incentives, yeah.
Yes.
You,
Definitely.
Because
nobody's going to want to stand in front of their computer alone.
Right.
Well, maybe I can be talking to do it. It depends. When you're desperate, it can be open all sorts of ways. Ron,
I couldn't, but Stephen absolutely. But
I didn't go to prom. I'm amazed. There are people who have virtual proms. That's how bad I am. Like literally, people at virtual proms. Like, so I'm sorry, Tia. You just it's gonna be about me.
What I love hearing, Tia, is the process. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, you took this initiative to organize this, and it was from it sounds like it wasn't even more for your own benefit, but more, because you didn't seem like you were totally gutted to not have it, but you actually wanted to provide this for people, and then you had to figure out how to make this product good to take it to market, kind of an idea, right? So you came up with the idea, you talked to your friends, you did some evaluation, yep. And then then you started putting it into action. Did a lot of your friends jump on board immediately? What was that process like? Was it pulling teeth, or?
It was in the beginning. It was pulling teeth. One of my friends, her name is Chayla. She already bought her prom dress. So she was on board because she wanted people to see her dress. Right. So she was all ready to go. She's like, when is it? Send me the link. I'm there. And then another one of my friends, they were just like, what do I wear to a virtual prom? Do I go casual or do I go big? And I'm like, you're at home, but it's your prom. So really, whatever you feel beautiful in is like, you want to look good at prom. So anything you can take pictures in and feel confident, that's what I told people to wear. And it was also helped that Wide Angle had so many connections, like the people we knew, people want to help us. They feel for first class of 2020. They're like, wow, yeah. I had my prom, I had my graduation, I had my senior farewell, I had a full yearbook. We don't even have a full yearbook. So they're like, This is the least I could do, help with the virtual prom to have some type of memories.
All right, so Ron, there's like 3 different lessons we learned here. So first things first, Tia went to the woman who already had a dress. What's that lesson right there?
She went to the person who has a need first.
Right, that's already committed, and thus is the easiest to push forward. Right. Second, Tia, you went to people that were, what was the second? The people that were kind of on the fence, but like, what are we wearing type thing. Ron, what's the lesson we learned from that?
That she's amazing and she's smart and she figured it out very quickly.
I'd also say though, so effectively, she said keywords. You're going wear what makes you look beautiful. So effectively, people already had a wall up of I can't do this because of X, Y, Z. And what she did is made it a more of a conceptual type thing that they could go through. Well, there's clothes that look beautiful and they're not prom clothes. Fine, I wear that. Smart. The third group, what was that third group that you were with, Tia? Sort of the third operation.
People who didn't want to go, people who want to go, people who were on the fence.
So people were on the fence. Name a few more people who were on the fence, and what are some reasons they put up?
Well, my sister, she's a freshman, and nobody was not invited. Everyone in high school was invited. She was on the fence because she was thinking to herself, I'm a freshman, why do I need to go to prom? But we really just wanted as many people as possible because we knew it was going to be such a great event. And I was telling her, yeah, you've never been to prom, but why not go to one? Like, this is an amazing event. And also people who I don't talk to as much, like my senior class, I don't talk to them as much. So they were kind of like, why is Tia inviting me to this? I don't really talk to her. Is this a trick? this is a scam. But really, I just really want them to have fun.
So we learned a lesson from that. So what was Tia doing, Ron? It was really great, because I have a few thoughts, but there's something
I'm
happening.
going to let you lead. I'm going to let you lead that. Go ahead, because I don't see where you're going with this, but and it's a rare occasion. But go ahead.
Sure. She effectively was building momentum. She was literally reaching out to people that would not even be shown to us freshmen. So momentum. People can sense momentum. Ron, we both work in the film industry. When you start to get some heat, everything else in your life gets some heat as well too. It's just one of those things with how the world works. And so she was effectively self-generating heat. And thus, by having people get involved, the second thing kicks in, which is social proofing. People are now saying yes, which meant for other fence sitters, well, other people are saying yes. Now a breakthrough point occurs. And, well, I guess I'll do this now. Other people are doing it. And so Tia very intelligently was social proofing, building heat, creating momentum, while also pushing forward to get those fence setters do their thing. Tia, I want to bring it back to something you said earlier. You talked about wide angle media. So, Ron,
Wide angle? Oh, good.
Yes.
Sorry.
Being part of a major organization like Wide Angle is very important. You know, for a lot of people out there, you know, you want to start something and it's just kind of you on your own. But having a larger entity that can give you backing, support, and more social proofing, you know, more cultural relevance is important. When did you first join Wide Angle? When did you get involved with them?
I actually just got involved with them the last summer.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. So that's great. So, I mean, you know, Ron obviously jump in, but, you know, there's a few things that Tia did and has done that really are important for organization and success.
Yeah, I would be. What did the school say? How did you interact with them? Did they assign a liaison? Were they open to it at first? You know, what was that? What did that look like? You know, because, you know, you're coming to them with an idea that they should have clearly have thought about in the first place. Right. But we won't talk about that right now. And, you know, and you're bringing the resources and the how-to along with you. You know, what did that look like?
Virtual prom wasn't just for my school. It was national. It was for any high school student. So when I was telling my acting teachers about when I was telling my acting teachers about the project I was working on, they were so amazed that they promoted it through Baltimore School for the Arts, and that led to other schools telling their students in that way, and me promoting it on my social media platform. And I have students from all over, like from Maryland to like people who I met during auditions in New York and Florida. So we had a few international callers.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I felt really badly seeing how, you know, how this, you know, 2020 students were, no graduations, no prom. I mean, you go through the entire school process thinking about graduation day, and then all of a sudden 3 months before graduation, they're like, and no.
Yep,
you know?
Too bad. Oh man.
How did that? When did that hit you? You know, you were kind of touching on it a little earlier. When did the realization hit you that you've been working your entire life to graduate, and now you're actually not going to have that moment? What did that, you know, how did you feel during that? I've always wanted to ask that question to someone your age. Sorry if I'm.
No, you're fine. It just recently hit for me because I've been in defense mode trying not to think about it. But I had my own drive-by graduation. And as soon as I had my drive-by graduation, I finally hit me like, I can't give my friends a hug. The people who became my family, I can't hug them and celebrate with them. I have to wear a mask to be 6 feet away from them. And that's when I realized, wow, I was pretty sad. I was pretty sad to leave a family. I've grown to be with these people every day. I'm with them more than my actual family. So it's like, I really wish I could celebrate with them. So it just hit during that drive-by graduation. But it's still amazing that I could still, you know, FaceTime them, be on Zoom with them, be at least 6 feet apart, and to take pictures with them. It's great that I have that at least, so I can print them out, put them in my memory box.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. I mean, you know, you start this, you come up with this idea of virtual prom. You communicate it to your friends. You do the administrative work to, you know, figure out how, you know, to what platform, and you do all these things. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, when did you realize that it was just blowing up past your wildest dreams of becoming a national thing?
Well, Destiny Brown, she's another person on the prom committee. She made the website, and when she made the website, it was so clear. The problem with websites, if they're not clear, nobody wants to get on them because they don't know what to press. And it was so clear and it was so obvious. Like, we're gonna have a TikTok dance contest. We're gonna have this. It made it very clear. Like, this is more than just, oh, let's play music and dance. And once I saw that, I told my friends to help me and put in the link in their like Instagram bios and their Twitter bios. And that way people can just go to my page, press the link, and go straight to it. And so that's when everybody was like, oh, I pressed the link, and it seems pretty fun just looking at the homepage. Let me see what this is about. And then go into the information, and then they get their ticket.
Right on.
Okay, there's some great lessons here. Oh, this is fantastic. So,
all
right. The virtual side of organizing has been a major influencer, I'd say, you know, past 10, 15 years. So a clear website, you had an action plan, and it was very clear. 2 is interesting. You know, it's not enough to be clear. It's like, why should I care? Oh, TikTok dance-offs. We have some raffles. So you have incentives, and you also have entertainment incentives. You have things that appear to be drawn to that will bring them joy.
And by the way, Tia, real quickly, Tia, if we could possibly get Steven in a TikTok dance-off.
Oh, no. I'm trapped.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Listen, people in America have suffered enough recently. We can't take any more, Ron. I don't think we can take any more. So all right. So we have the great clear website. We also have the really interesting events. It also visually looked good, you said, right? Did you feel like, you know, it was kind of really, from a graphic perspective, looks good?
Definitely engaging.
And then what you did is you put it all in the Twitter bio and like in your Instagram bio. So effectively you went and got your friends and said, put it in this Instagram bio. And so anyone goes to our bio and they can see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever post on IG about it, whether in your story or your feed? Was it only the bio, or did you like do that stuff as well?
No, I posted on my story consistently, and I also made a post on my main feed so that people can see it all the time. I actually did a TikTok challenge. It's called the Don't Rush Challenge. I did it with me and a few of my friends, and we started off looking bummy, and then we put our virtual ticket to the phone, and we came back, we were all in our prom outfits. And I posted that on my main page so people can see, like, oh, okay, this looks cute, this looks fun. And then I consistently posted on my story, check this video out on my main feed if you want to learn more. Or I posted like secret, like, oh, you guys, I got some surprises for you, but you can only see it if you go to the link in bio. Things that will make them want to say, let me learn more.
Damn. Tia,
Stephen, if you don't mind, Tia,
take it away,
you have a very expansive mentality. You know, you see macro to micro.
Awesome.
Very, very, very well. And that requires a certain intelligence, you know? And I mean, I hope this is not the last thing you do to organize. As a person, just personally speaking, I just find you charming as all get out, and just incredibly intelligent and incredibly motivated. And you know, one of the reasons we wanted you on this show is so anyone who's listening to this, they can take the general outlay of what you've done, and they can try to improve the lives of people in their own community. And you know, especially now with everything we have going on with you know, the Black Lives Matter movement gaining steam, and you know, the election coming up and young people not voting and all these other things. There's just so many places for a person of your intellect and intelligence to get out there and to be of service. And I just want to just really, my hat's off to you. I'm beyond impressed with what you did. When I was a kid, you know, I used to I'm from Philadelphia, and we would rap, and I was promoting shows and things like that, but it was completely selfish driven. You know, it was all for me to be cool, you know, and I was, don't get me wrong, I accomplished my goal to be cool.
At least you were cool. My God.
But you know, you made a difference. You made a difference in the lives of countless people, and on a mass scale. You know.
Yeah.
Did your I'm sorry, I didn't check. Did your Instagram and your Twitter following and all that blow up now? Are you like are you up there with Beyonce? What's that looking like?
Yeah. What's going on? Yeah.
Oh, not first. I would like to thank you, but definitely not at all. I have about it stayed around there.
Right on. Yeah.
Well,
No,
we'll follow you. You know, you're a wizard, Harry. You know, like we'll be on that train.
Yeah. So, do you see yourself organizing, or being more involved in community moving forward? Was this an overall positive experience for you? I'd imagine it was.
Definitely a positive experience. My parents raised me to believe the goal in life is to help other people. You're always trying to help other people. I don't think I could do this alone. Like Wide Angle definitely helped me, but I'm always looking for organizations to work with and partner with, and to see how can I help other people. Because I feel like it's kind of selfish though, because when I help other people, I feel good. So it's like I'm helping you, but I'm really helping me. So I work with Baltimore Office of Promotional Arts, and we're working on trying to get people to do the census. And then next we're going to work on something else. Like we would work on Artscape, but summer's been canceled. So, but if it wasn't, we're trying to work on things that'll better the community. And this is kind of related, but I feel like Baltimore right now, just Baltimore, we're known for being the dangerous city. But me living here, I realize we're ridiculously talented, but people are not having enough faith in the city. So I really hope that one day change the narrative and it start here and expand to other places.
You touched on something, Philadelphia had that same rap. And it took a good 25 years to really turn things around. And now Philadelphia is unrecognizable almost, it's just socially speaking to what it was, 30, 40 years ago. And so I really look forward to seeing what you do with that. Stephen, do you have?
Yeah, I mean, so real quick, Ron, we should get a ton of money together and hire Tia for something. I know, Tia, you have this theater thing, but I'm half Italian. We're gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. So just be prepared for that.
I think we get Tia out here and start getting her on some pilots and some shows, and she's a theater major, and the confidence that she has, unmistakable, is going to be. I mean, she's good at what she does in her art, and I think that she would. Anything from newscaster to the next Angela Bassett, or something along that line. I totally I don't see. I think the sky's the limit with this one.
Yeah, we're just piling on the compliments to you. You're like, wait a second, can we make this thing go longer? But all right, so there's a few more points that I think are interesting and important to think about, because it's not just snap my finger and want to start to do something. I would argue that you were doing stuff before this even started that allowed you to do this. So talk about your social life. Talk about the people in your life too, because, there's some people that you're like, oh, that person's trying to do something that's so dumb. And there's some people that you're like, okay, I'm willing to listen. What was sort of like, what were the people in your life that you sort of cultivated? What was sort of your mentality with those people? Talk more about that, because you talked about helping and being good to people. But tell me more about what your social life was like and the people around you and how you cultivated your personal relationships.
Well, I go to art school, so I'm around a lot of artsy kids who are always having ideas. One of my best friends, every time we get on the phone, she's always like, what if we made a film about this? Or I say, I got my hair done. And she's like, like hair extensions is wrapped in plastic. She's like, what if we made a film making awareness to that? And I'm like, well, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. So we're always working on something that will be more helpful. So being around so many artists, it was easy to find people who want to do more help. Yeah, help more.
So she was surrounded by an idea generating group of people, which meant they're probably more open-minded because they're used to essentially not only cooking up ideas, having many of those ideas shot down because they're dumb, but they're willing to sort of like hear things out. Also, you know, make stuff. People who make stuff. Because again, the hair extension video is a good example. There's people who talk and there's people who walk. And you, luckily, were surrounding yourself with people who walk. So was that an active thing that you're trying to do? Or was that something that just you naturally were around these people? I'm just sort of curious to hear that.
It was I was naturally around these people. I was just really blessed, honestly, because if I didn't go to Baltimore School for the Arts, I probably wouldn't have went to City. And City's a great school. My sister goes there, but it's not a lot of people. I don't think I would have met people like me, people who are always thinking or really weird, the weird creative people, the artists, the average artist. So I was scared that I was going to meet like not normal people, but non-artists. And if I wasn't surrounded by the non-artists, I'll be doing like my uncle. He owns a store, and now he got his own nonprofit to help kids in his neighborhood. He's not an artist, but he's doing things that route. I do things more like shows, like an art show or a creative theater piece or a concert, something. That's how my way of helping.
You know, Stephen, if you don't mind me jumping in here, you've been saying something, you've been touching around something that I want to get into, and it's going to be a two-part question. One, it sounds like you have an amazing family with amazing parents. I would love to hear more about how they helped you achieve your goals and how supportive that was. You know, your uncle with this nonprofit, your parents, you know, a little bit about them. And then once after you're done with that, who were the naysayers? Who were the haters? Yep. Who were the people that were saying, "Oh, this can't be done," or you know, maybe you know, what did that look like? So those the 2-point question right there.
Okay, well, my family, my mother's really an introvert and my dad's an extrovert. So you know the child is either gonna be one or the other. Luckily, I was the extrovert. My dad actually he coaches children that he just finds. He's like, I'm gonna coach you because he's a basketball player. So I'm like, well, where you find this kid? He said, I saw he didn't have a basketball. I gave him a basketball and I just trained him. He seems really nice. And I'm like, well, why? He's like, because you always got to help people. So I was raised seeing that, always a new kid, always giving them this. And I'm just like, what's going on? So being raised seeing that is kind of like, oh, well, this is just what I have to do. And it's what I wanted to do. And then my uncle, he did the same thing. So I'm seeing everyone do these things. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. So they're just always supportive. They're not artists. That's hard.
That's okay. That's okay.
If you're an artist raised by non-artists, they're doers. An artist have to have a blind face.
That we need.
When you're not an artist, you don't see it.
Yeah.
Artists are needed, but when you meet one, they're weird.
Yeah, Tia, you know, when I realized that I was a stand-up comedian, I'd been avoiding it for a long time because I was so gifted in the tech industry, you know, and doing all these things. And, you know, when you're an artist, you can't deny who you are. It's like kind of like being gay or being black. It's like you can't not be an artist, or you're cutting off a part of your soul. It's like there's something really, really just dark when you don't allow that to happen. It doesn't matter if you're making millions of dollars. It's about the creation of it, you know, the process, you know. Your parents, they supported you in your art being doers?
Yes. They support me through everything, but they're always like, are you sure you want to continue?
Right.
Because they know it's hard. It's a hard life.
I respect that.
It's natural. I think, you know, when I tell people, art is not any more difficult than any other career choice. It's just not. If you want to be one of the best neurosurgeons in the world, if you want to be a highly successful pharmacist, if you want to own a construction company, if you want to open a toothpick company, right? That requires the same amount of work. It's the same amount of competition. It's the same amount of resiliency. It's the same amount of constant education. It's just the way it is. It's just that artists, we put ourselves out on stage, right? We're the ones that are up there, and people look at that and are like, oh, I would never do that. And I think that's kind of where our parents, because my parents were the same way. That's why I asked that question. They're like, okay, you should get a job. But, and so I just wanted to hear what you said that, because what you said was very powerful. It was, you had your influences, and you had this beautiful family unit that, was supportive and had the great family values and morals and decency and hard work and all these things. But you knew you wanted to take that and and be a creative. And I absolutely love that.
So I think it would be remiss to not talk about the hardships. I think, there's a lot of sort of well-deserved back patting, but Ron brought up the naysayers thing. And I did hear you say that there was some sort of depression that came in when COVID-19 hit, and that there's this sort of sense of, you wouldn't use that word lightly. And so, there were ups and downs too. I'm sure there are points where you're like, man, is this dumb or a waste of time or whatever? There's some negative that probably popped up. So talk to us about the downs of the emotional state in the process, the naysayers and the points where you didn't feel like this thing was going to be what you wanted to be.
Well, my friends would definitely took a big influence. Some of them were a part of the naysayers, because I have about 6 closest friends. 2 of them said, I'll go, it seems cool. But the other 4, they would say, this is going to be boring. What made you want to do this? It's too late for prom. Let's just make it in the summer. They'll say all those things. And they were the naysayers. They made me think that people wouldn't want to come. They made me think that maybe virtual prom might be boring, or maybe it'll just be like regular prom except on your phone. And regular prom was not all that for me. So I was like, oh, it's just like that on your phone? That'd be terrible. But then I would talk to my sister or my team or even myself, my diary, and think, no, I'm going to make it good. Or our team's going to make it good, because we need some light in such a dim time.
You're amazing. So you journal. I love that you journal. What's your journaling process like? Is it Go ahead.
I journal like I'm talking to someone else, or I'm talking to future me. I talk to future me in my journal. So I say, hey girl, what's up? I'm about to talk about virtual prom. So, working on virtual prom. I do that voice because this is my old self talking to my new self.
I love it.
And then I say, but what you think? You know what? I think it's this, but I don't know what you think. And then I read it like a day or 2 later and say, oh, I did think that. You was right. And then I write again in my journal. See, you was right, past self, but you can make it better by doing this. I'm weird like that.
That's the creative.
That's my journaling process. I always hype myself up.
That's the creative process. That's fantastic. Absolutely. Steven?
Yeah, everyone should journal. I mean, it's interesting because I have 2 journals. I have a weekly, more sort of like bigger one, and then I have a daily for 5 minutes. I write down my thoughts about the day, things going on with the world and stuff like that. The daily one's fairly recent, like 2 years old. The bigger ones, I think 5 to 7 years old. But it's great, and because the reason why is that, you're an adult. I'm gonna swear. We're all full of shit. And, we say things to ourselves, and then our brains will tell us we never said those things or believe those things. And you need that journal to be able to watch your bullshit, to be like, oh, I did think that. I was wrong, or that wasn't true. And so journaling is great. It's, for me, I don't check it enough, the stuff I have written in the past, because I'm afraid of wow, I wanted that. I didn't succeed. Oh boy. But it's super important because it gives you also a sense of importance that you're on a journey, that what you're doing is meaningful too. And I highly recommend it. Ron, do you think you journal too a bit?
Absolutely. I'm a comedian. So I my writing book goes with me. My writing book goes with me everywhere I go. And when I'm driving, my writing book sits next to me in my armrest, and I have my pen. And if I need to stop and make a note, I will stop and make a note. I use my journal not only for creative purposes, and it's serves 3 purposes. It's creative, directional. Where am I going? It's okay, kind of what Tia was saying. you put this down, and you make sure you follow up with this, a few days, and you come back and you're like, oh, that's right, I almost forgot about that. And so then it's also like this little to-do list, and then, so it's invaluable. It's invaluable. I actually go out and I buy really expensive writing books because I feel that everything that I write down inside of them are incredibly important and should be honored that way.
That's a great note. It's a really good note. So Tia, so we've been chatting for a while, and I think we'd be remiss to not sort of like wrap this thing up, because I think in a lot of ways, I'm sure we'll probably chat in the future, knowing, what you pulled off. I'm sure you'll be doing something else. And you're a guest of the show now. You're a friend of the show. We definitely, want to see you again. Thinking about everything, that happened, this whole sort of virtual prom, and, it's been a little while. Looking back, what were some sort of major lessons or ideas or thoughts you got out of the whole experience that you could sort of like impart to people that are listening?
Well, one that's pretty corny but essential is, if you believe it, you can achieve it. If you believe in yourself, have faith, then you can achieve it. Not everyone, I told you, even my friends did not believe in it. But because I did, and because my team did, we all worked together and we achieved a great virtual prom. I had a lot of fun.
That's amazing. When you were speaking, I remembered there's that Jay-Z Fade to Black video. And there's that part where he goes, think it, see it, achieve it, or something along that line. But it's basically, I'm paraphrasing, watch the video, I'm sure you'll be able to get, but he's pretty much, when he thinks it, he sees it, and he makes sure, and it manifests for himself. That's important. You're wise beyond your years. It took me years to figure that out.
I know, right? They have the internet. I know you Gen Zers. You have the internet. Ron and I were busy banging rocks and trying to talk to each other through a cup and string. You got to get cell phones. That's my excuse.
My social media game is as bad as it could possibly be. It's because I come from the generation where we didn't have that, and so it's always been the secondary thing. It's like, oh yeah, I got to put that to second social media. But in your generation, it's like it starts there. And so that's been an interesting journey for me and myself. Have you ever considered politics?
Everyone asks me that. Honestly, no. I went to some political thing, and everyone was talking. They did not know what they were talking about. I wasn't even interested in politics at all at this time, and none of them made sense. They said nonsense. And then my director, who I was with, told me I should consider it because I knew I could do better than that. And I was like 16, 17. But no, I haven't really considered it because I'm not passionate about it. So if I was passionate, sure, but I'm just not as passionate.
Just understand this. It is that ignorance is why you're needed.
No, we want Tia to grow up. We want her to have some happiness, Ron. Not yet.
There are so many places for her to go. I know we're going to be seeing her on TV doing something. There's without a doubt. You don't start off, without coming up like that. And so you're doing fantastic. So, but I just wanted to plant a seed because seeing strong young Black women doing their thing and really coming out and making a difference. Listen, everyone in the country and internationally that attended that prom, they will remember that the rest of their lives. You made their evening good because of what you did, because of your thoughtfulness and everything. And again, this is a once in a generation pandemic. What would they have been doing otherwise in the first place? You know what I mean? And so having those memories are invaluable. And the older that you get, you're going to realize it's like, wow, those were the good old days, no matter how fucked up they were. Excuse my French.
Totally agree. Tia, it was a real pleasure to have you with us. We're always impressed by everybody. Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, You know, there's a lot of different ways you can be a good person, but we want you to be a good person. And for the positive identity, we focus on race relations and how we can be positive forces to people of all identities, Asian, Black, Hispanic, white, you know, Native, you know, whatever you sort of identify with. And so seeing what you've done, you know, you've organized, but it's not enough to just organize. It's to do it for the right reasons. And we thank you for doing that. And please keep doing that. And thank you for being on our show.
I really
Tia,
enjoy talking to you both. Thank you.
Absolutely, Tia, and again, heartfelt for myself as well. Thank you for everything you've done, just keep doing what you're doing. And when you're coming to Hollywood, let me know. Steven's here too. We're ready for you.
Yeah.
You know, we got your back. I'm the unofficial mayor of the city. Okay, so you just let me know, and we'll got you covered. Okay.
All right, sounds good, Tia. See you around, and we will talk soon in the future. Pleasure.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Tia. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. All right, Ron, this is the time where we summarize a bit. We wax rhapsodic about our guests in the day, and we then go our separate ways.
She was great.
Yeah. Yep.
First of all, she's great. I absolutely love her. She's adorable. You know, she's much more adorable than you are. So I hope you don't get jealous by me saying how
I'm pretty adorable. And you're wrong. I'm very adorable. I am absolutely all right. Okay.
Absolutely. But no, she's I found her to be very intuitive, very intelligent, very focused. Everything that she did took a lot of work, a lot of evaluating and reevaluating, a lot of meetings, a lot of feedback, outreach, you know, talking to experts, talking to people outside of her comfort zone, talking to people, you know, finding businesses, you know, all of what she did required everything that anyone ever needs to do to start a small business, to organize a band, to start any form of type of creative team, to be a community organizer or in politics. She really touched on some major areas. And so anybody who is listening to this, first of all, thank you. And second of all, please understand that is that's textbook on how you start from the beginning and follow through to the end on a project. And she said she had the faith that she knew she wanted to have it done, and that's all it took. You know, she dedicated herself to it and made it happen.
And the vision is the beginning part, but I think, you know, this sort of goes back to a conversation you and I have, Ron. It really starts right now. We have to take action right now. She takes action in how she treats her friends, the people she surrounds herself with, effectively. Right. Before you can get to that point where you can start to fly, you got to start to walk it. And right. She has been. And I think for, you know, Ron, we always like to give people at home some of the sort of takeaway from this is that it starts right now. And you got to really think very deeply about the people you have in your life. She talks about how it's natural. But when you're young, you know, a lot of stuff happens naturally. And so you're not as sort of deliberative because you don't know. For us who are a bit more experienced, we got to really ask ourselves, who are we surrounding ourselves with? Are we with people that are going to be positive forces who can help us enact positive change? And it starts right now. We have to look at our friends and say, are these the right people?
Yeah, you touch on something that I think I definitely have been doing during this pandemic. And that is looking very deep in the mirror and saying, who am I? Where am I at? What do I have? Taking inventory. What do I want out of life? What makes me happy now?
Right.
Where do I want to end up? You know, and how are the people that I have surrounding me, helping to feed my soul and support me, however it is, through friendship, through love, through kind word, through gesture, and then taking action. And I hope that everybody in this country has had enough time to be able to do that for themselves and realize that not everybody is around you for your success, and not every job that you have is actually a job that's going to lead to your success.
Mm.
No matter how much you get paid. And so, that's that. I'll just stop there.
No, I think the vision also starts right now too. Because Ron, I think about your vision. That vision will eventually lead to those situations where, like Tia, we'll be called upon to do this thing and create this thing here on Earth, and then make it have a life. Yeah. So right. That's what we want people to walk away from when they listen to this. What is my vision? And then what are the people around, and how are they part of that vision? And so, no, it's good. I'm glad you said that. I think Tia really clear. She was an inspiration, and she explained so much to me. And that's how we need to be. We need to keep learning.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Ron, I think it's time to end this bad boy.
The time again.
Yep. So,
well,
Juneteenth.
Stephen, first of all,
yes.
Stephen, you have refuted my requests for you to twerk. You have refuted my
America suffered enough.
You refuted my request to TikTok dance with Tia. Okay, and I'm starting to see a pattern. All right.
We have to let the professionals do this stuff, Ron. We have to.
Positive identity. The positive identity that I need you to hear right now is white men can dance.
Oh, how dare you! Of course we can dance.
Maybe
that's a myth.
Maybe I'm lying.
The white women of the world know that we can grind with the best of them. All right, we can get up in that, and that's dancing for us. All right, dancing, fine. So, but on that note,
stay away from the dance floor. Stay away from the dance floor. Stay away from the potato salad.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I know. It's a loaded conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuning into Positive Identity Podcast and Zoomcast. I am friends with this amazing gentleman right here, Mr. Stephen Gibler.
You're an amazing gentleman.
And I am thankful that you guys listened, Stephen.
Yeah, and thankful you all listened too. So thank you again for listening to the Positive Identity Podcast series. And it's a pleasure. And we will see you all in the next episode.
Next episode, we're coming back for more. Eat your Wheaties.
Peace.